This is who she is. I mean, she's one of the most elite competitors I've ever been around. And the only other competitor that I can compare her to is Tamika Catchings.
They make quicker reads and play with a lot more rhythm, better timing, and multiple weapons on the floor. I mean, and it's a team that's playing with a lot of confidence.
The way that she approaches the game, her professionalism. It was big. It was exciting. It was one of the most exciting things for me that I wanted to happen tonight.
Remember when the Indiana Fever started 1-8? Yeah, that team is long gone. Now they're in the playoffs, and Stephanie White is sweating. Let's talk about how Caitlin Clark turned this team around and why the Suns coach is losing sleep. You know what's crazy? The Connecticut Sun are a seasoned playoff team, but they're up against a Fever squad that's on fire. And at the center of it all, rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. She's not just good, she's changing the game. Imagine this. A team with years of playoff experience facing off against a group of youngsters who just figured out how to win.
And then we got to come out with a high level of discipline defensively, high activity level on the defensive end of the floor, and continue to work on playing with the pace that we want offensively. Kelsey Mitchell's obviously playing at another level now, and so it gives you another player on the floor that you have to be mindful of on and off ball and isolation. I think anytime you're a young team that's really growing into yourself, the understanding of one another, the timing, the pace, the connectedness, just wasn't quite there early. It's there now.
It's like a battle between the wise old guards and the fearless new kids on the block. The Sun have the know-how, but the Fever, they've got momentum that's off the charts. This clash is going to be intense, and you won't want to miss a second of it. Speaking of momentum, the Fever's journey this season is like a roller coaster that only goes up. Remember when they were 1-8? Now they're making seasoned coaches sweat. What changed for this young squad? It's not just about Caitlin Clark. This team transformed from the inside out. The Fever's incredible turnaround is the talk of the WNBA, and it's got everyone wondering, how did they do it? Let's break it down. First off, Clark's impact can't be overstated. She's not just good, she's league-leading good. Her assists are off the charts, and her scoring, it's like she's playing a different game. But here's the kicker, she's not doing it alone. Enter Kelsey Mitchell. This dynamic duo in the backcourt is giving opponents nightmares.
Just excited for another opportunity to step on the floor, against a tough opponent. Reminding our players, Indiana's a different team than they were the first 3 times that we played them earlier in the season.
The fans of the WNBA who have been around for a while know exactly the type of player that she is.
I like that she's come in and just blended perfectly. She hasn't tried to be anything other than what she is, and that's exactly what we need.
Mitchell finished the season with 767 points, just behind Clark. That's not just good, that's scary good. Imagine trying to defend against not one, but 2 scoring machines. It's like trying to plug a dam with your fingers. Something's bound to break. But it's not just about the stars. The Fever's secret weapon? Chemistry. These players have figured out how to work together, and it's beautiful to watch. Coach Stephanie White said it best. The understanding of one another, the timing, the pace, the connectedness just wasn't quite there early. It's there now. That's the kind of growth that turns underdogs into champions. And let's talk about those role players stepping up. It's like the whole team got a power up. They're not just filling gaps, they're creating opportunities. This isn't the same team that started the season. It's Fever 2.0, and they're on fire. You want to know how serious this transformation is? Look at their record. They won 11 out of their last 17 games. That's not just good, that's playoff worthy. They're not sneaking into the postseason, they're kicking down the door. But here's the real kicker, they're not satisfied. Coach Christy Sides isn't just happy to be here. She's proud of her team's resilience, sure, but she's got her eyes on the prize. The championship isn't just a dream for the Fever, it's the goal. Think about it, a team that started 1-8 is now a legitimate threat to take it all. That's the kind of story sports legends are made of, and it's happening right now, right in front of us. So what's keeping Stephanie White up at night? It's not just Clark's scoring or Mitchell's support. It's not even the improved chemistry or the rise of role players. It's all of it combined. White knows she can't just focus on stopping one player. She's got to find a way to contain an entire team that's found its groove. White put it perfectly. You can't outscore that team. You've got to be able to lock down defensively. But how do you lock down a team that's firing on all cylinders? That's the million-dollar question. And it's one that's giving the Suns coach some serious headaches. Now, you'd think having a winning record against a team would make you feel pretty good. But White isn't celebrating. She's seeing something in the Fever that's got her worried. What changed that's making one of the WNBA's top coaches lose sleep? It's not just about the wins and losses anymore. White's looking at the Fever like they're a whole new team. And you know what? She might be right. The Sun may have a 3-1 record against the Fever this season, but those games feel like ancient history now. Think about it. The Fever that started the season, they're gone. In their place is a squad that's found their groove, and they're not afraid of anyone. White sees it, and it's giving her nightmares. You want to know what's really bugging White? It's not just Clark's incredible scoring or Mitchell's support, it's the whole package. This Fever team has transformed, and White knows it. She's watching game tape, trying to figure out how to stop a team that's not the same one they faced earlier in the year. White's not mincing words about it either. She straight up said, "They don't fear anyone. They just go out and they play and enjoy the game." That's a tough matchup. Can you imagine? A team that's just having fun, not worried about who they're up against? That's scary stuff for a coach, but here's where it gets really interesting. White's not just sitting back and hoping for the best. Nope, she's taking action. You know what she did? She decided not to rest her starters. That's right, no break for the Sun's top players. Why? Because White knows they can't afford to lose their edge. This isn't just about keeping players in shape, it's about momentum. White's looking at the Fever and seeing a team that's riding a wave of confidence. She can't let her team lose that same energy. It's like she's telling her players, look, we can't take our foot off the gas for even a second. And let's talk strategy for a second. White's got to be racking her brain trying to figure out how to contain Clark, but it's not just about stopping one player anymore. The Fever have become a well-oiled machine. So now White's got to come up with a game plan that shuts down multiple threats. You know what's crazy? White's probably spending sleepless nights trying to find weaknesses in the Fever's game. But here's the thing. When a team is playing with confidence and joy, those weaknesses are hard to exploit. It's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. So what's White's game plan? She's made it clear. You can't outscore that team. You've got to be able to lock down defensively. But locking down a team that's firing on all cylinders? That's easier said than done. White's decision to keep her starters in rotation shows just how seriously she's taking this threat. She's not underestimating the Fever for a second. It's like she's telling her team, every minute counts. We need to be at our best because they're bringing their A game. While coaches like White are losing sleep, WNBA executives are probably dancing. Clark's arrival has sparked a viewership explosion. But here's the real question. Is this just a flash in the pan, or the start of a new era for women's basketball? Let's talk numbers for a second. The WNBA just had its highest attended opening month in 26 years. That's not just good, that's historic. And guess who's at the center of all this excitement? You got it, Caitlin Clark. But it's not just about butts and seats. The WNBA is seeing a massive surge in viewership across all networks. We're talking about the most watched start to a season ever. And it's not just the usual crowd tuning in. The league's seeing a 60% jump in viewership among people of color. That's huge. Now, you might be thinking, sure, but is it all because of one player? Well, not exactly. But Clark's definitely the spark that lit this fire. She's not just bringing her game to the pros, she's bringing her whole fan base with her. Remember how Clark dominated college basketball? Well, she's taken that star power and cranked it up to 11 in the WNBA. Her social media game is off the charts, and fans are eating it up. It's like she's got this direct line to the audience, and they can't get enough. But here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's not just changing how many people watch the game, she's changing how it's played. Sue Bird, WNBA legend, put it perfectly. She said the Fever under Clark are just ramming it down people's throats. It's a style of play that's got everyone's head spinning. Think about it. Clark's not just fast. She's redefining what fast means in the WNBA. The Fever are playing at a pace that's giving seasoned coaches nightmares. It's like they took the playbook, set it on fire, and decided to make up their own rules. And you know what's crazy? It's working. The Fever went from being the team everyone wanted to play to the team everyone's scared to face. That's the Clark effect in action. But it's not just about one player or one team. Clark's success is raising the bar for the entire league. Suddenly, everyone's stepping up their game. It's like she walked in and said, "This is the new normal," and everyone else had to catch up. The real magic here? Clark's making people who never cared about women's basketball tune in. She's not just a great player. She's a gateway to the whole sport. People tune in to see Clark. but they stay for the incredible level of play across the entire league. And let's talk about those rookies for a second. Clark's not the only new face making wave. There's this whole influx of young talent that's got the WNBA buzzing. It's like the league just got an injection of pure excitement and fans can't get enough. You want to know how big this is? Stephanie White, the same coach who's losing sleep over facing Clark, called this rookie class a superstar influx. That's not just hype, that's a seasoned pro admitting that the game is changing right before our eyes. But here's the million-dollar question. Is this sustainable? Are we looking at a temporary Caitlin Clark fever, or is this the dawn of a new era for the WNBA? Let's talk about this showdown. The Fever? They're not just in the playoffs, they're on fire. And Stephanie White, she's losing sleep over this matchup. Why? Because Caitlin Clark and her squad aren't just playing ball, they're changing the game. This best-of-3 series is gonna be intense. The Sun have experience, sure, but the Fever, they've got momentum that's off the charts. White said it herself, they're playing incredibly well. They're a tough matchup. That's coach speak for we're in trouble. Here's the big question. Can the Suns' playoff know-how stop the Fever's fever, or is this the start of Indiana's Cinderella story? The Fever went from bottom of the pack to playoff contender. Now they're facing a team that's been here before. But in basketball, sometimes heart beats experience. We're about to find out which one wins.